If you guys have blocks, go ahead and grab blocks. 2 if you have them. I'll give you options if you don't have blocks, but if you have like even a pillow or something like that, go ahead and just like 2 pillows, just something like that that you can use to kind of be just a little bit of a prop. There'll be several different things that we'll do with them. Let's go ahead and make our way all the way comfortably down. And as we're here, our first chance to kind of use our blocks is to let ourselves bring the bottoms of the feet in toward a cobbler's pose, and then just let the knees be lightly supported off to each side. So some people could use really tall heights for the blocks. Some people could use really low ones. It just depends on how your hips are feeling. You could play with how far the feet are, how close they are. It's really up to you. But get them situated in a good, supportive, opening way. And then your choice of what to do with hands. Are they open on each side? Are they resting on the belly or on the heart? Find a good place where it's easy to kind of automatically zoom right into that meditative state. When you get there, let's allow the breath to flow a few good rounds. Allowing lungs to expand to all directions. The rib cage is going wider. Belly's rising. And that long exhale. Keep it flowing for a few good rounds. This gets ourselves started with some of that fresh oxygen, that energy that we can get. As we're continuing to allow this breath to flow very deep for us, let's imagine that all over our body, the different muscle groups hold onto various energies that from the emotions that we experience as we pass through different things in our life. So imagine the light-hearted emotions are a little bit easier to pass through. It's a very high vibration that feels good in our system. And so it comes through and it leaves really quickly, really easily. Imagine some of the dense emotions, some of the hardest things that we've been through. Perhaps those ones stick to us quite a bit deeper because we don't really know what to do with them. We want to process them, we want to get over it, but yet our mind keeps on replaying it over and over again. And so imagine those things are a lot more stuck in the very muscles and the very fascia of our body. So as we give ourselves permission to stretch in all sorts of good ways today, imagine this is giving us the opportunity to kind of touch on some of those emotions, allowing them to process. What if physically is kind of the last place where those emotions show? So they've been hung onto our system for quite some time. And now we're beginning to physically feel different pains and aches. So now working on that higher level, that emotional level, we imagine maybe we're able to alleviate some of those aches just a little bit, helping them be just a little bit easier through physically stretching them. So let's allow one more deep inhale and exhale. Allow that to be kind of our initiation for this really deep journey, this journey inward on all levels. So with this breath to guide us on, let's take our first good stretch. The thing that we'll be doing is dropping our right hand kind of by our right side. And as the left arm stretches up overhead, we can even kind of walk the shoulders a little bit off that right side. So it's kind of allowing the legs to be very solid, but the upper body is all tilted off to that right side. Just a good lean. It's kind of like a half circle that we're trying to trace. And just notice if any of this is speaking to us already. Maybe the shoulder, maybe the neck. maybe the ribs or the waist or even the low back, hips. We're using this as a really good chance to kind of experiment with our body. What's going on? How can I help? How can I continue to aid my system? As the breath flows, see how deep you can make it with being tilted like this. 3 more breaths leaning off to this side. After that third breath, let's begin to ease our way back toward the center of the mat, and then take a full breath cycle in and out to notice if the body is any different than where we first started. That exhale retreats. Let's begin to shift toward the second side. So shoulders make their way off to the left. The left arm just stays by our side as the right arm starts to reach up and over, kind of curling off to that left side. Are there any areas that are resisting the breath? Can we try to breathe into those spaces as well? Let's be here another 3 good rounds of breath. Only when that third one completely finishes, let's take ourselves back onto the center of the mat. We'll enjoy another really good inhale. And exhale. And then from here, allow the knees to come upright. We'll do the opposite motion, bring the feet about as wide as the mat, and let the knees try to fall into one another. While we're doing that, we'll give our neck a chance to stretch out. You've got a couple of options. You could either play with different heights of the block, trying to prop the head up into a gentle stretch, or you could clasp the hands around the backside of the head and pick the head up into a stretch. It's really based on what is most relaxing and restorative, and what helps you to feel it the best. So it's not super strict, but either way, let's try to allow the muscles right on the backside of the head to get a moment to stretch. If there's different angles you need to explore with, your body just knows that you're holding something there, explore with it. Maybe that's where that trapped emotion is. It's almost like this game of exploration as we move all over our body. What are we able and willing to find and explore? Rather than treating it like an awful thing that's happening, imagine if we treated these things like a little treasure, like we're on a little treasure hunt. We're trying to find the spots of our body that are very curious, things that will teach us the most wisdom of all. Another great inhale. Exhale, we can free the head back out to the floor. And allow both knees to tilt over to the left side. It's like the windshield wiper that completely dropped over to left. The big thing we're trying to experience is that internal rotation for the right leg. So if this is enough already, just stay, letting gravity help us out. Only if you know that you need a little bit more, you really don't feel anything, you could take the left ankle to the right thigh and continue to drop down to gravity that way. We're exploring through any sorts of little emotions and treasures that might be popping up here. Obviously, if there's pain we're experiencing, if it's sharp, stabbing, throbbing, or shooting, that's a time to come out of it or to lessen the depth. But if what we're experiencing is kind of like a deep inner stretch, that's that experience that maybe I can dive a little bit deeper into. Either way, let's take another huge inhale here. Exhale, free out the leg. Let's allow both knees to lift. And as they're ready, ease them over to the second side. Again, no need to force anything beyond what naturally happens. But if you want to, you can lift that right ankle up to rest it on the left thigh. One more inhale. Exhale. Then gently let the knees start to rise. Perhaps this is a chance to do a few windshield wipers left and right. Just seeing if there's anything that's loosened its way out. It's not that we want to let all of that emotion go. Sometimes it still has a really important lesson for us to learn. And so in the long run, it will be in the best benefit to keep that until we're ready to learn that lesson. But when it comes time, we're giving it permission. Yes, I'm willing and ready to learn and to shift. To open up to infinite possibilities. So when everything feels happy again, we're going to slide our block or pillow, whatever we have, under our hips. So grab onto it, lift the hips up, and allow yourself to set the hips back down from that slightly elevated position. I usually try to make sure the knees aren't just flopping open here. They're either squeezing to be in line with the hips, or you could allow them to drop inward to internal rotation. So whatever feels best. If you're using a block, you've got a few different height options. So you could go low, medium, or tall. Find a good place that allows you to feel something. So it might be the sacrum that you're balancing on, that little massage you can get right on that bone at the base of the spine. It could be this nice arch you get to the spine, this kind of heart opener. It could be this gentle compression on the neck. That compression is actually really healthy for the thyroid. So whatever it is that you're experiencing the most, see if you can open up in that area. Anything that's immediately resistant, see if you can allow breath to flow freely instead. Notice if there's tension that you're holding in other areas of the body, maybe in the hands, in the feet, in the tongue. Can you relax that? Try to find a deeper amount of presence with everything that's going on for another 5 cycles of breath, nice and slow. When you notice that 5th breath leave, let's unwind ourselves from the lift. So maybe taking the block away. When we return back down, perhaps the sacrum is speaking to us as we're adjusting back to the flat plane. So I personally love to do this little dance of my hips here, just kind of rocking my hips left and right. That feels so good to kind of reset the sacrum. Other days, I know that there's other things I need to do, like hug the knees into the chest or take some more of those windshield wipers. So whatever's feeling healthy and helpful for a moment, take that. Give it just a few more breaths. I'm gonna go get our thermostat bumped up just a hair. So just hang out another couple of breaths here. Good, and when you feel really pleasant, really happy here, you're welcome to work your way up toward a seated position. When we're up, let's take bottoms of our feet together. You choose the exact distance. This could be quite a bit further forward, or this could be scooted right into you. So it really depends on what you're experiencing right now. But when you find that, begin to let your spine travel forward. So it's going up and over. Take your time if you feel tightness. Maybe there's something that you need to pause and breathe at. Maybe there's something in between shoulder blades that you're like, okay, before I go any further, I'm just gonna breathe into that space for a moment. Maybe you wait there for a good 5 or 6 breaths before it starts to shift and you can sink further. Know that it could be absolutely beautiful to take a block right under your head. So that might be exactly where you rest. Just continue to play around and deepen your experience in the ways that feel helpful, whatever that is today. Now, if your intuition knows to stay in this forward plane, that is absolutely fine. It might be time for some of us to begin to shift a little bit closer to the right side. So maybe with block or maybe remove the block. You can have hands on the floor, hands on the legs, whatever's helpful. Shifting, if you're doing the shift, shifting toward the right side would help us to stretch some of the low back on the left side. Hoping to allow that to go just a little bit deeper. And if you took it to the right, ease your way back through the center. Don't force anything too quickly. And when you know it's time to begin to shift to left, allow us to continue to head over to that direction. You headed to left, go back through the center, just a couple more breaths. Starting to ease our way upward. When we're up, let's grab onto our right knee and flip our right knee over to the left. So you could stay with the knees, how they ended up there, or you can grab that right ankle and shift the right leg a little bit wider, so that would put the left foot close to that right knee. So you get to choose. Either way, we're gonna take a nice twist. So walk your hands off to your left side. Continue to walk your hands. This would be that way for you. Yeah, you're welcome. I know, you're like, this is weird. Yeah. So just let yourself walk as deep in the twist as feels helpful. And really listen to your back. Depending on exactly how you wind your spine, you might feel this in the lower back. You might feel this more in the middle or in the upper back. So just kind of be easy with your body to find that perfect amount of twist. You could even lower down to one or both elbows if you wanted to, no pressure. Couple more breaths here. Try to keep it flowing to the belly even during the twist. And eventually ease your way up onto your hands. As we start to walk our way more forward, we're going to take a forward leaning shape. So you could either go over this left thigh, that'll be a nice easy angle, or you could continue to walk yourself back to face more forward. That would be quite a bit deeper. So just choose that perfect spot that your body knows to rest in. Maybe you've got that lock for your head again, if that was helpful before. Ginormous inhale into the belly. And exhale. And as we rise back up, from here we'll head our spine backwards. So if the legs are a bit wider, that would be a quad stretch for this right thigh. If the knees are more together, that would be kind of more of a spinal twist. So it's really up to you what would feel best here. As you head backwards, maybe heading just a little bit would be plenty. You always have the option to move and adjust the tailbone to create a whole different type of activation. Maybe some of us will continue to drop down onto elbows. Occasionally there's people that make it all the way down to your back, but that's not what this is about. It's about us listening to our body and just going to the depth that's helpful. So wherever that is, chin can be up or head can be back, it's whatever's helpful. Another good breath in. Exhale. We reverse every step that we took to get into this. Rising easily up and out. We'll unwind the right leg and we'll take it into the cradling position right in front of us, using hands or maybe slipping down to elbow creases. Let's give that right hip a couple of good rocks. Keep on going until this feels perfect through your system. It feels like you loosened out something important. And then when you get to that spot, either drop this to shin stack or to cross leg. Either way is fine. As we begin to travel forward, this is an invitation where we could include our arms. Essentially on the ground, our arms would look like this. It's like that cross shape where right arm goes to the left arm goes to the right. So or you could also leave one arm forward and then the other just one at a time threads through. So whatever feels good, begin to make your way forward. I personally am gonna have a block for my head and then start to ease your shoulders, either one going across and then I'll tell you when the half point is to switch, or maybe both begin to thread under and through, trying to spread open to each direction. So whatever feels really helpful for those shoulders as we're easing into the hip joint as well. Something deep, try to breathe into it. We could begin to switch our arms out. If you're doing just one arm at a time, take it to the other side. If we've got both crossed, maybe bring the other arm in front. One more breath in. And walk your hands in to help us rise. Maybe the shoulders need some attention. Maybe roll them up, back, and down a couple of times. Easing into all those tight spots. Then from here, let's drop the right hand to the right, left hand up and over. And switch it out. Good. As we rise back up, let's slide the bottoms of feet to join together again. You can choose if it's the same spot as before or maybe a slightly different position. Maybe you have that block for the forehead. Let's take a couple of breaths, sinking forward, whatever the angle is. And then beginning to rise up. We start the journey on the second side. This time we take the left knee and we flip it over to the right. If you kept the knees closer together, do that again. Otherwise, left knee slides wider so that the knee is closer to that right foot. And then plant the hands off to your right side, spiraling as much as your back would be happy with. Don't feel anything forceful. This is not the time to hurt the discs. This is the time to be helpful and really just listening deeply inward. Maybe you want to lower down to one elbow or both, but if that hurts or pushes too far, don't feel like you have to. Good, and winding our way out. This is the one where we choose the angle to bow forward. So this might very well just be over that right thigh, or perhaps it's more of a forward angle. You try to mirror what you did on the other side. The block could be extremely helpful for the forehead. And rising up, we'll head backwards. The knees can be stacked or not still. You could go on just to your hands. Maybe it feels perfect to drop one or both elbows. Remember to listen to that knee, making sure it's not going too much. Huge inhale. Exhale to rise. Take your time. Beautiful journey. When we've arisen, unwind that left leg. Let's rock it out. Little baby cradle. And then once that's feeling pretty complete, we'll let the shin stack or go to the cross-leg shape. This one's that shoulder stretch one. So maybe you're doing the same option as before, or maybe this time it's the different one arm or both arms. So maybe that block for the forehead and allow the arms to get set up in that perfect shoulder stretch as we lean forward. This is the halfway point, so if you want to switch your arms out, go ahead and do that adjustment. One more deep breath in. And exhale, let's ease our way back up. Maybe roll the shoulders out a little bit. And then left hand to the left, right hand up and over. And switch. Good. Coming back up. Our knees will come toward a kneeling place, and we'll be playing for a moment with puppy pose. This gives our heart a chance to arch. It also stretches our shoulders in the forward position. So if you don't have two blocks, this can be done just by keeping your hips over knees, arms forward, and just drop the heart down. If you have the blocks, you can help to elevate it, and that would allow the neck to drop down past where the arms are. So I don't always go up to the tall block, the tall height. I would usually either use small or medium, but you can play with the last one. And I'm trying to get my blocks in a position such that my elbows can easily be propped up. So then keep those hips over the knees, ease the arms into whichever shape, and then allow everything else to drop down. This is nice not only for the shoulders, but this helps to reverse any sort of hunched forward shapes that we might tend to take in our lives. Notice how free and open it is to take a deep breath here. It flows so easily. Let's take one more good breath in and out. When we ease our arms off the blocks, let's scoot our hips all the way back into child's pose. Maybe a block under the forehead. Arms could stay forward or maybe tuck back for a couple of breaths. And hands underneath us to press us up. The next couple of poses that we're going to take, I'll guide you through different options. You can sit on the block or you can sit on the floor. This will kind of be time to listen to any of the options that seem like they'd be helpful for your body. Skip over ones that you don't think you like as much, or continue to play, stay in some. This is kind of free form how exactly you do it. But the first option you can take is get the block and just sit on it normal. So sitting on the block, the knees are together in front of you, and kind of hugging around the shins. We're allowing our forehead to just drop down. Again, you could absolutely stay here if good things are happening. If you want to move on to the next thing, you have an option to start walking the feet outward. So this is spreading the feet out in toward a yogic squat, a nice wide position. Elbows pushing them, or even just kind of forearms pushing the knees open, getting into the hips. Head could be up or head resting down on the middle fingers. Could go back to where we were a moment ago. You could stay here, or you could begin to work the legs a little bit more forward, maybe a lower block height, allowing legs to start to come together again, extending a bit more forward. Sometimes what I'll do is a little hug around the thighs so that I keep the tailbone, and I keep just basically keeping the low back engaged with this. So I'm keeping it glued together so that I'm grabbing that tailbone and the hip bones and pulling it with me. Starting to work forward, maybe the feet go a bit further. If this is pretty easy, you could slip off the block, coming toward more of a forward fold. You could stay here, or maybe the legs go just wide enough to let a block go right in between so that you can rest down. You could always even stack both of the blocks to give the head a little bit more ease. And our last option, but no, you don't have to take it. That last option would be to take the legs super wide. So whichever of those options is feeling good, we'll be here a little bit longer. You'll stay in this shape for the perfect amount for your body. So maybe you know to stay here another full minute, and that would be perfect. Maybe you know it's time to explore the last couple of poses, whatever that is for you before Shavasana. Maybe a last seated thing, or starting to take some last little poses on our back. This is really free time for you to explore through your system, helping you get that deeper intuitive awareness of everything that's going on so that we can help our body out rather than continue to exaggerate the things that are already aching for us. So whatever our body knows to do, keep on exploring, keep on playing. And literally, this is absolute free time. So you could already be ready for your Shavasana immediately. You could take another 3 or 4 minutes. If there's anything that you want to do with the blocks, you've got them. Maybe your Shavasana is exactly where we began, with the knees propped up with one block on each side. Maybe it's something entirely different. So enjoying this time we have to just be with this beautiful body we have. Keep the explorations going until you know it's time. Whenever that happens for you, be with this breath. Imagining that the breath, after all the physical work we've done, the breath is that subtle energy that can help to complete all this opening, this activation, this healing that we've initiated together today. Take all the time you need to get there. Then when you're there, the breath gets to flow for us. Slowly begin our journey back out by deepening the breath. The next breath or two be huge. Take your time starting to unwind. Maybe beginning by introducing little movements to fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Continuing to expand these to good stretches, any other intuitive movements you know would be perfect for your body right now. You're ready for fetal position. You can take it over to one side. Enjoy maybe 3 or 4 more breaths until you feel ready to rise up, comfortable seated. We're ready to arise. We can join our hands together in front of our hearts, allowing ourselves to connect to this beautiful body we have. Perhaps there's a tremendous amount of wisdom we've gained working on the physical level, using that as a little glimpse for some of those deeper and yet higher vibrational levels. So with any of this intuitive wisdom we've gained to help lead us on to greater health, greater wisdom, greater vitality, let's allow ourselves to wrap up the time we got to share together today. Be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.